What is earnest money and why do you gotta pay it? How's it going, everybody? My name is Travis Poland. It is an absolutely beautiful day here in Littleton, Colorado, and I wanted to come at you with some information about what your earnest money deposit is and what it means. So your earnest money is basically your good faith deposit. It's typically only 1% of the total purchase price of the home. So if you buy a house for $400,000, your earnest money is probably gonna be about $4,000, $4,500. Just kind of depends on who you're working with and what they came up with as a deposit. It is refundable during your due diligence period. So what that is you basically have 3 contingency periods throughout your home buying time. So your first one is going to be your inspection. You know, you're gonna have an inspection, you're gonna have an inspector come in, inspect the roof, the windows, make sure everything works and that everything is in proper order. During that time, sometimes things come up. You gotta negotiate that with the sellers. And if the negotiation just isn't working out, you can just kind of cancel, back out, and get your earnest money back. So when is the earnest money due? That's a great question. It's usually about 3 to 4 days after you go under contract, and that's 3 or 4 business days. So if you go under contract on Friday, it's probably due on like Wednesday or Thursday. So make sure you get that in, talk to your realtor. Here in Colorado, we take it into a title company. They hold your escrow money throughout the transaction. The next one is gonna be your appraisal. You have an appraiser come out, appraise the value of the house. Right? So you're gonna know if you're paying under market, over market, and then obviously there's gonna be some negotiation inside of there. That could be a whole nother video in itself because your appraisal definitely plays a pretty big part. If you know that you're offering more than what the house is worth, you gotta make sure you have some extra cash in your pocket to close an appraisal gap. And what that appraisal gap is basically you're paying, let's say $510,000 for the house. Well, the house only appraised for $505,000. So someone needs to come up with $5,000 to close that gap from the 510 to the 505. 90% of the time, you're able to split that with the sellers if they're in an okay position to bring $2,500 to the table. So that is what an appraisal gap is, and that is one of your due diligence contingencies period inside of your offer contract. And the last one, it's usually towards the very end of the whole process, is your funding contingency. So God forbid something happened, you lost your job, someone passed away, something happens and your lender isn't able to close this transaction. Well, you are inside of that funding period, and as long as you don't go over like a deadline, because it's written into the offer, right? It's usually about a week before closing. Sometimes it's a little bit tighter than that. 3, 4 days before closing, something happens, you can back out and you can get your earnest money back. So keep in mind, after the due diligence period, right? Let's say you're after everything, right? 2 days before closing, you're like, oh, there's a house right up the street that I want more. You know, what do I got to do to get out? Well, unfortunately, you're beyond your due diligence time. You're probably going to lose your money if you want to go and buy that next house that maybe just popped up on the market. That's just a risk that you take, and that's just part of buying anything, right? And lastly, just so you know, your earnest money usually goes towards your closing costs. So it's not like an extra fee on top. So if you have $6,000 in closing costs, you know, your earnest money was $4,000, closing costs are $6,000. You're just gonna have to bring $2,000 more for the closing costs plus your down payment. So I hope this was helpful. Again, my name is Travis Poland, and yes, good luck out there. Get yourself a good lender, a good realtor. They will make your life a lot easier getting through your home buying process. Yeah, I hope you guys take care, and we'll see you on the next one.